If only they knew. The hub for young business minds.
Yes, people, it's Ted Lawlor, aka Mr. IOTK from If Only They Knew, the hub for young business minds. Today, we've got none other than the man himself. Why don't you introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you do?
Cheers, Ted. So, my name's Nico Coleby. I run Colebys Jewellers, watch shop and jewellery shop. Been based in Essex for about 30 years now. Just making a move to the city, where we are now, Liverpool Street in London.
Lovely little setup you've got here as well. It's really
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, mate. So that's it. So yeah, run the Colebys Jewellers, and we got a little intro, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I thought I'd jump on.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming on. I thought it'd be quite interesting to see what it's like running a business that you're sort of is family orientated, so sort of having that emotional attachment. Funny enough, it come up on the podcast the other day. Somebody was saying like where they've started the business with their best mate, there's so much emotion involved in it, they just sort of can't see past what they enjoy. So normally if you're really unbiased, you're very, very quick in sort of saying, okay, that don't work, that works, that doesn't. Whereas if you're heavily emotionally involved, it's like, oh, come on, this should work, this should work, but really sometimes it don't. Yeah. So straight off the bat, before we dive a little bit deeper, have you experienced that at all, that sort of heavily emotional attachment?
Definitely, like just from real world experience, like watches at the minute are very glamorous. Every young fella's a watch dealer. I know 10 watch dealers, and so many young fellas start up with their pals as like a partnership. And to be honest, I don't know many that run like the full length. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't end up going too well. I think that's because to begin with, you're only kind of thinking of the upsides and the pluses. You know what I mean? And you get into it, and you start bumping heads and having to make decisions. And it's difficult. It's got its good and bad points. Do you know what I mean? The same as everything. So there's plenty of pros, but there's plenty of cons. Like some of the pros would be, it's a little bit more relaxed. It's a bit more of a relaxed environment.
Of course, yeah. Does it feel like work, really? Or only on those stressful days?
Right, it's hard for me because it's all I've ever known. So we'll get into it later. But I left school early, and this is what I've done since I left school. So I've always been in one. I've always had one position. I've been in one job as such. Yeah. Right. But it's hard sometimes. It's hard to tell the difference between when you're at home and when you're at work. Do you know what I mean?
I can imagine.
But no, it's good. It's good in general.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that then. So I always say, to understand who someone is truly today, it's always good to rewind the clock to understand what they was like when they was a bit younger. So for those listening, what was you like at school? Was you like me, a bit of a terror, but intelligence, I got away with it?
Yeah, I mean, I was always well behaved as a kid, but I was quiet. I was always a quiet kid. Do you know what I mean? Quite like timid. Well, I think so anyway. And never really got on at school. Just never enjoyed it. I think I had a bit of a pass because my mum and dad didn't really mind me having time off from school.
Right.
So I think that gave me a bit of a pass to dislike it even more. Do you know what I mean? As long as I weren't being lazy, if I was doing something constructive like helping around the house or working, it wasn't a problem for me to not be at school. Do you know what I mean? Which I really liked as a kid. So obviously when I'm 10, 11, 12, I might be not going to school and cutting the grass and helping out, and like I still had to be learning real world stuff. I might go and do the banking and bits and bobs, but as I got a little bit older, obviously I started going into the shop and getting my first taste of earning a bit of money. And
how did that feel when you?
Yeah, that was
did
good.
You just think, I'm sorted?
Yeah, that was good.
Much,
yeah,
at the time.
I was like 14, 15, earning £20 a day. Where my mates were getting a tenner a week pocket money, I was on a weekend having 100, 200 quid. I felt like the don. Do you know what I mean? I was going lakeside and blue water, getting like a new bit of club. It was lovely.
I love
and that's what gave me the taste of. Yeah, do you know what? This is what I really want to be doing. I really want to be getting forward in this. And
do you think at school you sort of touched on it, but that's one of the things I was thinking of. Like if I sort of already had my heart set on my career, whether it was a family thing or not, if I had my heart set on a particular path, anything that didn't help me with that path, I would completely sack off and wouldn't entertain. Is that what you're saying? Basically saying you did as well at school? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Just didn't sort of pay attention to anything other than what you enjoyed.
No, so I'll give you an example, and I always think of this. A few years back, I just went on a path. I wanted to learn new things and do new things and absorb as much information as I could. And I've always kind of been interested in other languages, and I've always wanted to speak another language. So I was thinking about Spanish or Italian. I chose Italian, studied it, paid a fortune, private tutor, years and years of learning it, and I speak pretty well Italian now. I've done 3-4 years of French in school.
Wow.
I could probably say not like through choice, just classes, just like maths.
Oh yeah.
I probably couldn't tell you 3-4 words in French, so I could speak fluent Italian out of choice, and I've paid for it, but I had it for free in school, and I can't speak a word of French, so I just switched off, just had zero interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what if you could go back and sort of tell your younger self something? Would you change it? Because I asked a lot of my guests that. Would you go back and change anything? Do you have any regrets? For me personally, I do have things I would have liked to have maybe changed, but at the same time, I think what's meant to be will be.
Yeah.
I've got that attitude. Is that yours as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't overthink it too much. You know what I mean? There's nothing. I think if you sit there thinking, I should have done this, I should have done that. If you've done them things, then maybe your life would be on a worse path or a different path. So yeah, I don't personally overthink it, but I don't know. I think, look, listen, I always say I don't understand it enough to say, school should be this and school should be that. You do definitely put out some good things. I think the social aspect of it's good, and having to get dressed every day in the routine. But no, I don't think I'd change it. I enjoyed, I think the one thing school lacked is real world experience. Like, I come out of school, I didn't know where to put a stamp on a letter. I didn't know about mortgages. I didn't know about banking. I didn't know about business. So when I weren't getting paid, when I was sitting in our shop and I'm seeing my dad taking money, I'm hearing men talking about dealing, people buying things, businesses, the accountants coming in, I'm hearing all that stuff, and it was just addictive. I liked being around that real world kind of business, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
On a point you mentioned earlier, it made me think, before we start recording actually, you spoke about mindset and stuff like that. How far deeply are you involved in that? Like, do you believe in the idea of like manifestation, law of attraction? And the people that listen to this quite a lot will probably be laughing now, because I always try and sort of throw it in there, because I'm a big believer in that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. So, first got introduced to me. I was quite young. I was probably about 18, 19. We was on holiday. My dad was reading a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which, if someone hasn't read it, I'd really recommend it. It's a good book about finances, just in your personal life and business life. And it's not the case of you read one book and it changes you forever, but it's more like it changes your path, or it opens your mind. And I read that book and I thought, I kind of forced myself to read it, because before I wasn't a reader. I thought reading was like, I don't know, I thought it was a weird thing. Do you know what I mean? Someone sitting on a train reading, I think, oh, that's sad. Like, I was on my phone doing something, you know what I mean? And I read it and I was like, wow, like this has changed my perspective on so much, and it just makes you realise how much there is out there to grab. Do you know what I mean? And then it's kind of like, it's a snowball from there. You think like, what other books are there? What else can I learn? And so, yeah, for me, mate, mindset is massive. It's helped me through a lot of things, and I use it every day. It's a really interesting subject, because there ain't no like there's like no end to it. You can always be learning, and
there's always something more.
It plays a massive role in my life, mindset.
But like, that's why I wanted to bring that bit in there, because what you said just before that as well about education sort of not giving you that particular value, and it's something I learned as well with If Only They Knew. I set it up in 2017 in the first or second year of uni, again because I didn't feel like if I was to do 3 years of what I was learning, I wouldn't have had that real world experience. So I don't know what your thoughts on this is, but I sort of think that there needs to be even an entry level way into sort of mindset and stuff like that in school. So like you said, one book completely open up the floodgates, and now you're heavily invested into the mindset world, and I guess looking at other books, looking at motivational speakers and stuff like that. So do you think in the education system there should at least be sort of that seed being planted? So read this book instead of reading about, I don't know, I don't want to say something stupid, but something stupid such as X, Y, and Z that you won't ever learn, you won't ever use in the future. There should be that opportunity to say, all right, read this book, it's about mindset, or, you know, sort of investing into self-development and stuff like that.
100%. 100%. Because you could kind of plant a seed in everyone's head, and even if you think it's a fantastic idea, like not everyone takes it on board. Like when I first got into it, I was like a preacher.
Yeah.
I was like, every phone call I had, like if I had a phone call with you, I'd say, I'll tell you, I've just read this book, Think and Grow Rich. Have like, you heard of it? Mate, you should read it. I got this from it, I got that from it, and it's so good, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was on everyone's case, but it puts people off.
Yeah, it does.
So I definitely think, like, it should be used more on younger people. Because I've got lots of friends now that are like 30, 40, and pick up the first book or watch the first YouTube video or learn about something new, and they go, oh my God, like, and it like enlightens them, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
And then I also know tons of people that wouldn't even get past the second page. So I think it should be like, I've always had an idea in like my head, like, because I was introduced to it from like a young age. My kids, I've always wanted to, I thought like, right, do like silly things, like if you're playing with them, like count like money with them.
Yeah,
like, well, I've given you £102 and I need this much change, and just so they're used to handling money, and like just like it's kind of like educational, businessy life books for young people. And if you're going down the bank, throw them in the car. If you can get them to go down there, let them even just interacting with people. Let them like pay for something. Let them do things. Build up their real world confidence. You know what I mean? I think that should be used or applied more in schools, definitely, because you only need that little seed to be planted, and it can help someone for the rest of their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And you spoke there about sort of people being on different paths. Like you said, you know, people that would be really interested in what you're saying and probably go out, buy the book, buy more books, and sort of continue on that journey, which is something I've done as well. Like speaking to a few of my mates, getting them involved into sort of spirituality as well, like sort of just that taking time out to meditate, and they've really run with it. And then some people, you tell them about it and they're like, well, like, I'm not a hippie, mate, like sort of calm down. So I wondered what your friendship circle's like, if you don't mind, like, because I know for personally, I've sort of sacrificed a lot, which means I don't have many friends that I can sort of get on completely well with, because I'm so focused on a different path. So I wondered, are you or have you ever had that where you sort of feel a bit detached from your friends because you're heading one way and they're perhaps heading a slightly different route?
100%. So that's how I started off, kind of on that like path of learning about the mindset stuff. So I kind of got introduced to that book and I started reading about it, and then you start thinking, oh my God, there's so much more out there. And then you think about everything, and I thought, like, oh my God, I'm doing the same stuff week in, week out, same stuff every weekend, you know what I mean? Just getting involved, doing this, doing that. And and I kind of like just slowly lost touch with a few of my friends, and you start learning, you kind of become a stronger character. That's like what the mindset stuff does for you. It makes you realise you don't need all this external shit, do you know what I mean? And you kind of get comfortable with, like, I don't know, like when like you've got a busy life and you see someone on their own, you think they're alone or a bit sad, but you learn that, like, normally the less people you have around you, like the better quality they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that is so true.
Believe it or not, like I don't actually have friends. Anyone around me is family. I don't have a big circle of friends. Like there's loads of people I know. Like I go out and bump into loads of different bits and bobs. Like Hatton Garden. That's like the jewellery and watch hub in London and such. Like I could walk from one side of the street to the other, and we've been going down there for 20 years. Like, and you bump into 20 people, you know, and you could, from one side of the street to the other, you might be talking for an hour. But I don't have many friends that I have it with or kind of go out with, and that it's just really like my partner's family, my family, and a few odd people. And for me, that's healthy. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's healthy just to have like FOMO, like the fear of missing out, and always want to be around people, and it's not healthy, man.
No, that to be fair, that's one thing I'm going through at the moment. Like, where lockdown seems to be coming to an end, don't hold your breath, people, but it seems to be coming to some sort of end. It is making me think, crap, the people that I've started speaking to during the lockdown, they're now talking about, yes, let's book up this festival, let's do this, let's do that. And literally whenever they say it, my heart's dropping, because I'm thinking, that's not really what I want to be on. Yeah. Like that whole festival, sort of going out, partying, having fun, but in my mind, wasting quite a lot of money and time. I know it obviously depends on what angle you're coming at it from, but yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm 22, turning 23, and I'm thinking, I don't know whether I'm actually doing the right thing, you know, because I'm on a good path, which seems to be going somewhere, but that FOMO's kicking in at every single day. Like, do you want to come here? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Oh, so-and-so's having a socially distanced party, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, like I do want to go, but at the same time I don't, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. So I guess it's all about sacrifice, isn't it, really?
100%. Like, look, you're still a very young man, and you've got to, you need a little bit of that social aspect, you know what I mean? But I think for me it's like strength of character. Like I think, like, to do your own thing and trust yourself and do what you think's better in you. Not like, look, I'm not like talking about like sitting there for 8 hours a day meditating and going on retreats to Nepal and becoming like a super vegan and this and that. But if you're just like doing what you think's right for you, I think that's strength of character. Do you know what I mean? Like being around a few less people, being around only the right people, like whether that. So I think it's a positive thing. I think it shows you've got strength, not just to go like yes, okay, let's go there. Do you know what I mean?
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of the quote as you're speaking there, but I saw something. It was just an Instagram quote. It said something about like the biggest currency you hold is your presence, or something like that. And basically what it was saying is like it's so much more valuable if you sort of really pick and choose and prioritize who you spend your time with, because them having your presence there, I know it sounds a bit like egotistical, but them having your presence there is actually a big deal. And I know that it sounds really weird, but it really resonated with me, because it's like, why am I sort of just being there for some people who aren't really there for me? So for me, I'm sort of going through that weird spiritual self-development journey. Like I said, we're both still young. So it's just about finding that balance. And you said you've got a family now, haven't you? Really? So is that you sorted, isn't it? That's the stage I'm trying to get to. Really, everything else, going out and doing this, doing that, I'm not really interested in. I'm more, if I could, in a sense, I'd want to skip to almost where you're at and just be settled. I think being unsettled really drives me nuts.
But you know what? I feel like everything happens at the right time. Like,
that is true.
Sometimes if you come across someone, whether it's a business partner, a life partner, a friend, whatever, and you're too young, you're not ready, whatever, and like the relationship doesn't really manifest, that's wasted forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, say like for instance in business, I thought when I was young, like I wanted to be doing a lot more and have more responsibility. I should be doing more. I've been doing this for 5-10 years now, blah, blah, blah. But really, if I got that responsibility at that time, I was thinking that, it probably would have all crumbled, and that kind of would have been wasted forever.
Yeah, that's it.
So I feel like kind of things, even though you don't think it, things do happen when you're ready for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's even more than that, like you touched on it there, but I think it's even more when you're ready. I think it's more when, this is spiritual woo-woo, guys, so turn off now if you're not interested, but when the universe is ready, or when the world's ready, or when even if you don't believe in like the universe side of things, just when everything else is ready for that one thing.
100%.
Like for me, I'm after an Audi TT at the moment. I don't know why, just sort of, one of the things, just my little token of success. So when everything goes right, I think that's when the car will happen. I'm trying to sell my car at the moment. It's literally getting no attention at all. And it's like I'm getting frustrated. But like you said, when the time's right for myself and everything else, I think that Audi TT will come at the right time. And there's a quote. I think it was Jordan Peterson. He said something about the universe may not provide certain things at a certain time because it'll knock everything else off balance and cause chaos. And when you think about it like that, it sort of helps you understand, like, okay, there's so many pieces to the puzzle, isn't there? It's not just that car, or it's not just that girlfriend, or it's not just that job opportunity. There's everything else in play, and it's all just a massive balancing game, isn't it? Almost like Jenga, I guess.
And even if it's complete BS, thinking that helps you. Because you think, that's all right, I'm waiting, it'll happen when I'm ready.
That's it.
Look, we're not like talking about laying there and just manifestation, thinking an Audi TT is going to be there tomorrow, an Audi TT is going to be there tomorrow, and not doing nothing about it. You've got to be doing something about it.
That's it.
But look, even if it's not working, it helps thinking, right, now it'll happen when I'm kind of ready for it to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I think you're right as well. And shout out to Robert Icy as well, my mentor. He's been telling me about the RAS, which is the Reticular Activating System. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't. No.
It's basically I think Tony Robbins brought it to light, more prominently. But it's basically a group of neurons at the back of the brain or something like that. Basically, something in your brain that acts as a filter. So whatever.
I don't know about it. So you can tell me anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Good,
Cool.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. But no, it's basically your brain's filter. So whatever you think about, you'll start seeing. So if I think again the Audi TT, I've seen literally 10 or 12 Audi TTs today.
So that's what it's called. So what's it called?
RAS, Reticular Activating
So
System.
I've always been aware of this, but I didn't know what it's called.
That's it. Yeah.
It's exactly the same as cars. Like, if you're thinking about a new car, exactly what you're saying. You suddenly go down the motorway and you think, I've never seen them before. And now I've seen loads. Like, we was talking about getting a Tesla for a company car recently.
Yeah.
And I swear before that I see 5 Teslas ever. Now I see five Teslas a minute. Like, you just see them everywhere.
Literally do, yeah. So that's what it is. So again, it's sort of the science behind the law of attraction, manifestation and stuff like that, because it's just proof that there is actually something going on between you thinking about something and it getting to you. There is a process in between, and there's a lot more other things as well. But that's sort of what I've been looking into. And again, like you said, it helps you understand it. Whether you it's science, so you sort of have to believe in it, but whether you believe in it in everything else or not, like you said, it's just a way to help you really think about what you're doing and where you're going, and really it just sort of helps you think, all right, it's all right, like everything's going to be okay sort of thing. It's more of a settling thing more than anything. Talking of settling, how badly has COVID unsettled your business, if at all?
So obviously, so I'd just say it's been different. Like whilst like we're on mindset and that, as a business or family or whatever, we try to be like as positive as we can, and we don't really like to talk negative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, you can moan, you can talk about the downsides, you can, like, the average Joe, the amount of times I've heard Brexit and COVID, and like, it stresses me out.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
I don't want to listen to it. Like, Brexit was the biggest thing in the world. Like, every person that come in, and now it's just forgotten about. Like, since like COVID come, like, it's forgotten about. Like, it was like ruining people's lives, and now it's nothing. Like, so yeah, it's been different. I think it's flushed out a lot of the weaker links. I think it's like made a lot of people, it's broke a lot of people, but for us, it's just been different. We've been powering through and doing our thing. Like, we come up during the first part of it last year. We took this new space in London, which was a big step, and even though it's going on, we're still focusing on pushing ourselves, stepping out of our comfort zone, doing kind of what we can to improve. And look, if times ain't great, you can dwell on that, or you can kind of dwell on, right, what can we do next, even if it ain't the biggest step in the world. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
So I'd just, to summarise it, I'd say it's been different, and we've been doing really, really well.
That's good. I think it either makes or breaks you. And for me personally, like with this podcast specifically, I've been able to nail people that I wouldn't have been able to get before, big names, because they're just sitting at home as well. So for anyone listening, my advice on that would be, it's almost the perfect time if you're going to break or make it. Why don't you focus on the things that are going to help you make it in life, you know?
But me saying that, I don't want to sound cocky or like, because luckily we can still work. Like, we're very active on the phones. Our business is like 24/7 now. We've got a good social media presence, and we've got a lot of angles we can work. Although having said that, there's a lot of people in our industry that are doing nothing and just sitting indoors. But I have got friends that's in hospitality, bars, restaurants, pubs, this and that literally like cannot do a thing. I feel really, really sorry for. But I believe by the time things are back open, I think there's going to be a big boom again. I think everyone's going to be eager to get out at it. Everyone's been indoors for a year. I think it's going to be really good. Yeah,
I think so as well. And like I said, hopefully it will be sometime this year, if not next year, we'll be able to sort of get back to some normality and start thriving again. But one thing you spoke about, sort of everything being different because of COVID and stuff. And one thing that really made me think about the future and how everything's going to change is someone on your podcast. He came on, he was talking about paying for a watch, is it, with blockchain?
With Bitcoin.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, and how much sort of you're thinking about using blockchain or have used blockchain in purchases?
So it's not something I've really been that interested in. Obviously, like, I think it was like 2016 to 2017, there was a big hype with it where the prices went up loads, and then it went a bit quiet after that. We're no experts in it, but what happened is someone in this office used to deal in cryptocurrencies, used to be a big crypto trader, and Lenny, who works with us, he ends up talking to everyone, and he started talking to him. Oh, what do you do? Cryptos, blah blah blah. So he gets chatting, and he just ends up liking a watch we had. And we said, look, you're like one of the safest people to like do it with, rather than someone we don't know. We'll take like the cryptocurrency for it, like the Bitcoin. So we done that. It was a really easy transaction, and then we started getting kind of learning about it and involved in it. And look, it's like what we're saying with the mindset thing. If I like understanding things. It frustrates me when I don't understand things. Like the average Joe, and especially in the older generations, if you don't understand something, you talk it down because it allows you to accept why you don't do it. Like, for instance, I don't know, if everyone's going to this new holiday destination, it's really nice, but you haven't been there because you can't afford it or you don't want to go. If you grab it and go, nah, but I heard some bad things about that. Nah, I wouldn't do that. All the jet lag and blah blah blah. It kind of makes you accept why you're not doing it, if that makes sense. So I just thought, listen, let's just get a head around it. So so that's it. So we took our first transaction for Bitcoin on a watch, just been trying to learn a bit about it ever since. But really interesting. Like, if you watch the podcast, but yeah, it's dangerous. It's so addictive. I've just been dabbling in it, and you wake up in the morning, you want to check it. You're like, you're up a bit, you're down a bit, and it's but it's interesting. I think it's definitely going to be big, or I think it's going to be the future, really. Do you know much about cryptos and that? Or not really?
I don't know too much about it, but again, I've invested into a particular crypto coin, not Bitcoin. I went for one of the smaller ones, and I put £200 in last year, last year I think it was, and now it's at 2,000 odd pounds, like up and down. So it was a big thing. But again, I always have that regret, like, if I would have put $2,000 back then, because I was going to as well. That was my plan.
So my brother-in-law, he's a trader, Joe. He works up in the city, and he said it teaches you a lot about yourself, because so I put some money into a coin that was recommended to me, and it doubled in about a week and a half, and I didn't pull out, and then from double it went down like a little bit. So now I was just under double, but I felt sick. I could have had double. So I'm still up loads. And that's what my brother-in-law says. Like, if you put a bit in, say like if you put £1,000 in like a coin or a trade, if it goes up to 1,500, you've earned 500 quid. That's all right. But if you was to be losing a tenner, you feel really angry. So 500 ain't enough, but 10 is too much to lose.
That's it.
So you got to kind of like not get too emotional with it. But no, it's interesting. I think it's going to be the future for sure.
I think they're from what I've read, it is really going to sort of take over, and I think it's almost like cannabis in a way. Like, the government are trying to find their way to sort of get their grasp on it and sort of bring it out that way. But I won't get into it because I'm trying to stay away from all the conspiracies and stuff like that. Because I dived a bit too deep, and I literally went nuts. But how far are you thinking ahead? We sort of mentioned sort of talking about future-proofing the business. But what's your sort of mindset? Would you rather just sort of roll with the punches, see how things go on sort of a weekly or monthly basis, a really short-term basis, or are you sitting there thinking, oh my God, I need to have a 3-month plan, 6-month plan?
No, so I like that mindset, and I'd like to be like that, but that's just not how we roll. We're like, we take every day as it comes. We got ideas and things, and we have conversations, but we're not sitting there having monthly meetings and like making plans for the future and forecasting and blah blah blah. We don't like. I couldn't even do a forecast, or sometimes like the banks previously have said like, oh, can you do like a projection on such and such? And I'm thinking, no, it's cool. And I have to go away and Google what's a such and such projection. Do you know what I mean? But again, that comes back to what you said at the start of the podcast, with a family business is that bit more of a relaxed feel with it. You know what I mean? But no, I'll be honest with you. We just take everything as it comes. Obviously, we try and keep as up to date as we can. Like, when I was younger, I started the social media, and that's why I've started the YouTube videos. Like, I'm not expecting it to be massive, but I know it's definitely going to be the future. Everyone just doing videos. That's why I'm learning about the cryptos. That's why we're moving to London. I think that's where it's at. So look, we kind of do what we can to kind of plan for the future, but it just kind of happens, if you know what I mean. It's not like we don't have this big forecast or mood board where we're trying to hit things. No, I think you're so right. You just have to sort of roll with the punches, see what happens. And it's interesting that the fact you brought up, you sort of
didn't know certain things, and that's one thing I always try and get across in my podcast. Not everyone that comes on my shows basically says, not blagging it. Some people are blagging it, but then some people are sort of, they don't know things, so they've got to go away and Google it and come back and say, all right, now I know it. Like, so it's just quite reassuring, isn't it, to know that so many successful business people sometimes don't know everything. Because you look at certain people, I do anyway, and I say they must know everything. I could never ever be like them, because they clearly know it all. They've done it all, which isn't the case.
If you said to me, you thought you know everything, I just think you're a donut. Do you know what I mean? No one knows everything. Like, we know so little, and that's sort of why I'm doing my videos, because I want to show people that it's called Inside Colebys, because I want to give them an inside look. And once things are back open and up and running, I'm going to do like a day in the life, and I'm going to get the cameras to follow me around and say, put in whatever you want to put in. Like the arguments, the swearing, the bookkeeping, the deals, the mess ups. Like, just show people really what it's like. Do you know what I mean? And this comes back to what we're saying about kids, like giving people that real education of what it is really like. Like, it's not polished. There's up days, there's down days, there's sideways days. You know. And that really is what that really is what it's like. But I think recently podcasts, like with what you're doing and loads of other people are doing, like I started off on Joe Rogan, and it makes you realise, like, I don't know, there's a kind of like cool aspect to that, just normalness.
There is,
like,
being authentic, being transparent as well. Like, there is. Just
be you. Like, we're like all trying to be something. Do you know what I mean? We're all dressing up in a suit, trying to be more professional, trying to speak better, trying to look like we got more, blah blah blah. But I think if you can be, and I'm guilty of not being, and I'm guilty of not doing it, and everyone is, but if you can just be yourself, I think that is worth so much. You know what I mean? I think that really is like a good look, basically.
And I think what we said earlier about sort of COVID and it changing everything, I think it has really sort of swept away all the fake people, because now they haven't got a leg to stand on. The people that were saying, I earn millions doing this, that and that, and now trying to sell courses, and you can tell they're in a desperate state. And it's like, okay, so you was one of the fake ones. Cool, I've got your number now. Let's get out of the way, sort of thing. But
I think there's nothing wrong with coming up. Like, I don't know, you're trying, like they say, like fake it till you make it and this and that. But when I was young, so my dad used to send me on errands when I was young. Like, I might have to come up London, go around someone's house, do something, like call on the shots and do a deal as a young man. And I probably sometimes didn't make the best decisions and weren't really best equipped for what I was doing. But sometimes people thought, I mean, I'm 28 now and I look really young. When I was 18, I looked like 10. Do you know what I mean? So I always had two reactions. I had one, so I could tell the look straight away. What's this kid doing? And even when I'm in a shop, I'm standing behind a counter selling Rolexes and big watches and diamonds and stuff, and you got like 50, 60-year-old man, and sometimes you just got that vibe. They was thinking like they just didn't feel great with you. It was like they felt like a kid was serving them, right? Then you got the other type of person where they probably had their own business or they'd come up from nothing maybe, and they give you this respect because you was trying. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't perfect. You're young, whatever, but you was trying, and they kind of liked that. They liked to, like, you was maybe a bit of a go-getter or just a tryer. Do you know what I mean? And I think they kind of respected that about you and give you a bit more time. So I think you got kind of one of the two reactions, sort of thing. They'll
come away saying, oh, he's a good lad. He messed up the thing at it, but no, he's a good lad. I've had that so many times.
They'd sort of give you a bit of time.
That's it. And I think that is so true. If you're authentic to who you truly are, not only do people sort of give you more time, more respect, but you also attract like-minded people. And it goes back to what we said earlier about sort of having a small circle, because I guess you're not fake, I'm not fake, so we have got small circles because we're not pretending to be that chameleon. Yeah, I'm this person's mate and this person's mate, and I'm also this type of person as well. I'm me. I don't go out looking for people to sort of join my table or whatever. If you come to me, you like me, cool. Come to me, you don't like me, cool. So it's just the same, innit? It's like I don't really like to force anything. I just, whatever is meant to be, I think will be.
100%.
Well, tell us then, what advice would you give to the young people? Because the young people, whether they're involved in business or not, because I know there's so many young entrepreneurs that watch this, but there's also just so many young people looking to be successful in no matter what area of life. So what would your advice be for them?
Wow, that's a big question. Just get out there and meet people and learn stuff, and don't be like, I think you either win or you learn. Like, I still am, but I was massively, you're scared of failing. You think like if you fail, that's it, it's the end of the road, you're done. But like if you mess up, you learn. Like what's the worst case scenario? You lose some money, you like, I don't know, you make a bit of a mistake, someone thinks you're a bit of a donut. Like it ain't the end of the world. Like you learn, it builds character, and even when you mess up and make mistakes and get in arguments and whatever, it builds your character. If you go through life from 15 to 50 and you never make a mistake and everything's perfect, like you're gonna be the same person as when like you started. Do you know what I mean? Like you think that's what you want, but it's not. Like that's boring. Trust me. Like you learn the most from your mistakes. So I just say, like, if you want to be an estate agent, don't worry too much maybe about like, right, I'm 18, I'm gonna take over by the time I'm 20 and like, just go and work for an estate agent, just learn the ropes, just get to know people, build up your real world experience, speak to customers, get out there and view houses, and just kind of fit in as much as you can, because time goes fast, man. Yeah,
that's it. And I think a lot of it is getting rid of the ego as well. Like, a lot of people mistake ego for that arrogance, but in reality, if you look deep into it, it's not. Like the actual definition of it isn't really to do with arrogance. It's more to do with the identity you subscribe to. So I could say I'm a young entrepreneur. So my ego saying you need to act like a young entrepreneur. Don't mention that you've got a rubbish car. Or don't mention this, and then that's the ego sort of coming into play. Because really, what you're doing when you're utilising your ego is you're pretending to be a different person. You're the same person, but you're pretending to be a different archetype. So a lot of people think that ego is arrogance, when really it's not. So many young people, and I did it as well, I thought, no, I don't. My ego just didn't let me sort of go on work experience, because I almost felt that a bit of pride, like, no, I don't need to work for free sort of thing. And I just went the completely wrong route. But I think you're so right. If you can just get out there and say, you know what, I don't care what people are going to think of me or what's going to happen to me. I'm going to walk into this office now with my CV and say, look, I'm looking for work experience. I'm looking for work, full-time paid work, whatever it may be. Just drop it on the desk and say, look, I'm here. I'm open, honest, and see what happens. You know, rather than saying, oh, I'm not going in there. They might say this, they might say that. Just 100%. Get rid of the ego, innit?
One other thing I'd say is as well, like, for young people, this is a big thing I'm pushing on my podcast. Like, my podcast is about watches and jewellery, but I try and push a little bit of mindset and life stuff as well. And something I'm really pushing is, like, if you're a young person, like, as you're scrolling through Instagram, it's not all what it's made out to be. Like, even us as a company, we're guilty of it. Like, so we sell watches, diamonds. What like do we want to put on? Our biggest watches, our biggest stones. I want to stand on the roof terrace and do a video of the skyline, and like I'm not putting in when we're downstairs arguing about the furniture of our new office and what we're going to get done, and the stress, and like we're rushing back to the shop to get some paperwork to the accountant, and someone's ringing me about a problem with a watch, blah blah blah, because that's not exciting for Instagram. So it ain't all what it's made out to be, and it ain't as easy as what people make it out to be. Like, running a business and being an entrepreneur now, like, it's glamorous, but like, it ain't for everyone, and it might not be for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Everyone's suited to different roles, but that's why you got to kind of get involved and try as much as you can, because you learn what is right for you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not all what it's made out to be, as far as, like, I think everyone's just glamorizing everything. Even let's step away from the business side of things, like personal, like, people are only doing the snaps when they go for the week in Dubai. They're doing the snaps when they're in their pal's brand new car. Like, and you're sitting at home looking at that thinking, I'm just at home in lockdown, look at them, and you're getting all depressed. But that ain't real life. And normally those people that are bigging themselves up the most, they're trying to prove something, because really inside they're not. They're not where they want to be, or they're not happy. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're quite a content person, you don't feel the need to be the loudest in the room. You don't feel the need to be shouting about what you got and what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Normally them people, if you're looking at them people that are screaming about it, trust me, they're not really what they're making out to be.
Yeah, we're all, like you said, we're all guilty of it to some extent, though, isn't it? Because like whether you think it or not, like you said, it's more exciting. You think, okay, look, I've got a nice view, I want to take a photo of it. You're not in an argument to say, oh, you know what, this would be good for the Instagram. So it is quite hard to just practically show off the bad sides. But I think you're right. If people, especially people that are at a very good stage, if they can make a very strong point to show off the bad sides as well, if they can make a conscious effort to show that off, I think that would do wonders for the community of young people on social media. Because like you said, especially during these times, it can be, well, I hate to say it, but it can be deadly. Because I've had it before. I think, oh my God, like I always tell this story of when a few years ago I was going to quit if only they knew. I was literally typing out the message to say I'm done, like I give up. I was watching Gary Vee all day every day. I was working at retail part-time, which I hated. I was so depressed, I had scabs all over my face. Like I went to the doctor and he said, I'm so glad you come to me now, because you sort of didn't have long in that state, the way you was going. So he put me on antibiotics to sort of get rid of the scabs, and then that made me realise, right, I need to sort myself out, because I was just crashing. My brain was just switched off from everything, so depressed. My immune system shut down. So I was watching them going home, watching Gary Vee, facing like bits, feeling terrible. And Gary Vee's like, hustle, do this, do that, work every day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is terrible. Like he's got everything I want and I can't get it. I'm stuck in retail with a job I don't like, you know what I mean? So I was typing out to say, like, this is it, I quit. And then I got an email from someone from The Apprentice to say, saying, I love what you do, how can I help? And that's the only reason why I didn't quit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today.
There you go. That's what we were talking about earlier, like timing. Do you know what I mean? Like that happened at the right time. Like if you like reached out to him a week earlier, it might not have happened. Like maybe it would, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I think that's what it's all about. Timing, definitely, and sort of just keep pushing, because your time will come. To everyone listening as well, your time definitely will come. If you put in the work, keep pushing, eventually that wall's going to come down and you'll see what's on the other side.
You've got to be very persistent, man. Like in this business, like just look at our Instagram later, like it just all looks like glamorous, laughs, good times, money, but it's like, it's just the same thing day in, day out, like calls, emails, meetings, deals, social medias, messages, blah, blah, blah. And I've said this in previous videos, like when you're on a high, it's easy. Like
it really
when
is.
Like we're doing a video tonight and then tomorrow morning I see a good customer and I take a load of money and everything's happening for you. Just all you drive along and the green lights are coming up. Do you know what I mean? Just your business is going well, yeah? You feel in a good mood. You walk through the front door when like you go home, you're smiling. That's when it's easy. Nothing's a problem. I'll take the calls. I'll listen to people. I'll like do the deals. But when like you come across a problem, you're not feeling great, business dries up a bit that week or whatever, just it doesn't seem to be, there's a bit of friction in everything. You still got to go through the motions, and as a business owner you still got to go through the motions. You still got to reply to all the social media DMs, you still got to pick up all the calls, you've still got to pay all the bills, and like that's the side people don't that's the side people don't see. It's just you've got to be very, very persistent. Consistency is key in business, and consistency is key in anything you do, like going to the gym and mindset. But that's why I want to do these videos, like the day in the life, just to show people the real side of it, you know?
Yeah, I think that'd definitely be powerful, especially during this time. But what is it that keeps you going then? What is your why? What are you chasing? What are you thinking of? Like, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and a lot of people will say, oh yeah, I'm chasing money. But think about it. Are you really chasing money? Boil it down. What are you chasing the money for? Then you say, okay, it's for the family. Then it's this, that and that. And you boil down to one specific thing you wouldn't have thought of. So what is it for you?
So I'll be completely honest with you, right? My friend, so I got into this mindset side of things, and I see my friend freshly after when I was the mindset preacher, and I see him in a club, and he was an accountant, and I was like, you need to read this book, man, it's really good. He read the book and he took it to the extreme. The last page, they try and sell you on the courses and stuff, and he ended up going to one of Robert Kiyosaki's courses. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, he ended up doing property. He's super successful now. He's doing really, really well for himself. Wow. And he had a really good why. He was like, he had everything down to a T. He had the mentor, and he was like, this is my why, blah, 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 blah. And it's all like written out, really strong. And I was like, that's powerful, man. I really wanted that. And I like sat there and I was thinking like, right, what's my why? And I was almost like picking things just to try and make a why. Do you know what I mean? But still to this day, I don't really have one. Like, but the only thing I can kind of boil it down to is just improvement. I think I just like, it's natural. Like, we are hunters. You know what I mean? Like men are hunters. Like, that's what I think that's what it all boils down to. Like, and what am I hunting? I think it's just improvement. I think it's just, I like when I was young and I was in the business and I was seeing the deals happening and I got kind of involved in little deals and bits, I think the buzz of the knowing I'm up on money I think that meant more to me than actually having the 50 quid in my hand and what I was trying to spend it on.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what I mean? I think I felt better for actually earning the money. So for me personally, it's not like, oh yeah, I want to attain this or I'm doing this for that person. It's more just the constant improvement. Is that a good or bad thing? Because does it ever end? No. But for me, that's kind of what it is. It's just a constant improvement, you know. And you always move on. I think that's the healthy thing. Like, it's not. You always have in your head. It's just something you want, and you find you get there, and you're not as happy as what you first thought. You know, it's that house you want. But when really the best house is the first one you moved into, and you're on the floor eating a takeaway on like the dusty floor, and it's you're just buzzing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so. Listen, it's kind of in business and personal life. Like, you have something in your head, you work towards it, you get there, and then you move on to the next thing. So yeah, for me, the why I don't really have a specific why, but I just enjoy the learning and the constant improvement, and we kind of achieve something and we try and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's powerful enough. I think that's a more than sort of substantial and acceptable why, I guess. It doesn't have to be a particular thing that you're chasing, because that is, like you said, that's when things go wrong, because you get it and you think, oh, is that it? Like, it feels terrible. But if you're chasing improvement, that's much better.
Saying that, I suppose we do have whys, but they're smaller whys, and they're like always changing. So before the lockdown, we said we want to double the watch stock. So the stock in our shop, we said, look, just randomly, was like, my dad said, look, I think we should double the watch stock. And I was like, right, cool, that's a good idea, let's do it. So working towards it, and that's just in like subconscious, we're just thinking about it, and we like hit it. And then we was talking, what do you think we should get a little office instead of having a shop, like have it like a VIP lounge type thing? What about London? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Right, let's get office in London. So that's the next little why, but they don't kind of last long, but they're just constantly changing. You hit it, you change it, you hit it, you change it, and that's just our thing.
But I think that is such a good way to sort of keep you motivated, isn't it? Because that's what I found when I got most depressed, because I didn't have those little whys to start chasing, on those little goals. Like, I woke up every day, right, what am I going to do now? I suppose I could do this. Oh, but what's the point? Because, you know, I'll start doing this and then probably won't finish it. So then I go on to this, and I was chopping and changing. But with those little goals and little action plans, even if it was just something stupid, like write a blog. The blog won't really do anything for me, but it's just keeping me occupied and 100%. Keeping me going through that day. Get through that day, then I'll wake up the next day, all right, I wrote a blog, let me do an interview, and then blah, blah, blah. Then you just keep sort of snowballing until you're out of that hole, if you may be.
Action does make you feel better. Like, going to the gym, that's probably the most extreme action, but it does like release endorphins and make you like, you come out of the gym and you feel like physically, you feel pumped, you feel like, you feel good. You want to, like, whenever I come out of the gym, like whenever I finish training, I want to do something else. I want to kind of like I'd normally come out and I want to phone someone or speak to someone, or you just want to kind of carry on a positive flow sort of thing. And even like silly things like, not that I do much of it, and my partner will laugh at me, Jess, but like, say like if I'm indoors and she's out and I end up like sorting the kitchen out, loading the dishwasher, doing something, it gets you on a roll. You end up, I've never actually done that. No, like the once or twice I've done it, like you end up doing something else after. But if you just slouch on the settee, which ain't a bad thing if you've had a busy day, but if you slouch on the settee, you will stay there for the whole night. Do you know what I mean? So action's good.
Yeah, no, it is. Well, I think the quote is, a man with a why can withstand any how. I think that's pretty much what we've got onto now. But coming to the end of this then, I'm curious to know what is next for you. You sort of spoke about the videos and stuff like that, but on a more personal level, what is next for you, and then what is next for the business as well?
So what's next for me in the business? So like I said earlier, like we're always working on a million things, but we're transitioning to London, which has been crazy times during this lockdown thing. But once this is all over, you'll find us mainly in London, which we're really excited about. We've been in Essex for 30 years, and coming to the city, which has just opened our eyes up to like we've been so much busier. It's been crazy. So really looking forward to that. Like I said, I'll be posting all updates on our social media and on the YouTube series Inside Colebys. So yeah, that'll be good. But I mean, that's the main one really. Aside from that, I mean, as sad as it sounds, that pretty much is my life, like work, like that's it. That's just all I think about. I think and breathe it, and that's it.
No, it's good though. It shows you've sacrificed it, and it's clearly been worth it. So yeah, what my final question then? What do you want your legacy to be? I don't know if you've thought about this at all, because I still don't have an answer for this one.
No, I haven't. Funnily enough, I've been reading. I don't know if you heard about Ryan Holiday. He's like an author, and he does a lot about like Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, the meditations and stuff. And it's about like if I had to summarise it, if you don't know about it, it's about like wisdom, basically about like old wisdom, which I really like. And it says a lot about that. Funnily enough, it says like what you want to see. What you want to see people saying when you're gone, and blah 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 blah, and I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much, but
do you know? I think I'm just thinking now. I've been thinking about it this week. Not so much my legacy in terms of what I want other people to think of me as a person, but a legacy in terms of an achievement. I think that's how I sort of categorise it. What you want other people to see you as and think of you, and then what you've achieved and sort of achieved in your life, and have that set in stone. And in terms of the achievements, one of them is, it's really bizarre, but being the first millionaire in my family. I was the first person to go to uni properly. I've been the first throughout my whole heritage.
I don't think that's bizarre though. I think that's good.
Yeah. But throughout, so if you look back through my whole family tree, I pretty much think I'm like the first to do so many different things, like go to uni, do this, do that, and sort of push the boundaries that little bit further, and just go against the grain, really. I guess I'm sort of like the black sheep of the family. Yeah,
good.
I don't know if that helps you sort of come up with a legacy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really thought about it. Like, I still think like, I don't know. I think not like blowing smoke up my own arse, but I think I'm quite level-headed or like mature for my age as such. Like, and I know I'm still really young. Like people, even my mates are going to be like, "Oh my God, I'm 30 next year." Like, but I realise that, especially Gary Vee says it, like, doesn't he? He's like 40 and he says he's still a baby. He says he's still only just starting out, sort of thing. But yeah, being honest, I wish I had an absolutely wicked answer to blow you away. But no, I don't know. Like, look, we think all these things. I've always said I'd like to help young people. Like, you know, I'd like to, like we're saying about with the schools, like planting a seed. And funnily enough, I even thought about it the other day. I thought I'd like to get kids on board, like young men, and give them like a week's work experience, like with us. Do you know what I mean?
Very good. Yeah, that'd be really good.
Give them responsibilities, make them go and speak to people, make them go and like even set up little like scenarios that they don't know about, and kind of put them under a bit of pressure and see how they do. And but look, we say these things, but what we're really doing, you know. But being honest, I haven't massively thought about it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I always say, like, if when people can't think of an actual answer, I always say, like, I'd never ask it to get an answer. I sort of ask it to get you thinking, in a sense. I've always been thinking it when the person's answering, I'm like, what is mine? But yeah, like I said, in terms of how other people see me, I'm not too sure, but I've got a few sort of things I want to achieve. But yeah, it's been great to talk to you, mate. I don't know how long we've actually done it, but we've had a great chat.
Yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah. So hopefully everyone listening, hopefully you've gained some value from this. I definitely have. And yeah, talking of action plans, I've got a few action plans I'm going to take from this. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on, mate.
Yeah, no, that's all right. The floor's now yours. If there's a final message you want to say, or you want to tell people where to find out more.
Okay, yeah. So obviously find us on the business on social media, Colebys Jewellers. Like I said, I'm doing the videos on YouTube, Inside Colebys. There's going to be a lot more kind of day in the life videos coming. Yeah, that's it. Final message. I think that's a bit too much pressure.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's beautiful. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in to the If Only They Knew podcast. We'll see you next week.
If only they knew, the hub for young business minds.